Here's hoping it all clicks come Friday. Now, before we get into the formations and the various debates that are going on about how England should play Friday, just in terms of attitude, there's a lot of talk about England now feeling like they're on the back foot. I'm not suggesting for a moment you have any experience squad-wise of being on the back front with Scotland, but how do you get back onto the front foot?
Well, if I could make a small point, Matt, I look at, for example, South Korea today. I made the point about South Korea and to a certain degree Japan, and I looked at their freshness and I looked at the way they just seemed to be enjoying as if they were playing. They were enthusiastic. I think that the English lads, I especially looked at my second half, they looked like a team under pressure. They didn't really want the ball, they were getting rid of the ball, they were playing the ball long. They've got to get confidence back in their team, they've got to stand up and be counted, and they've got to have players that, as I say, demand the ball and will make passes. And if they get that, they've got a chance. And a small point I made earlier to the last one watching, that's at VT there. I mean, watching the Argentinians celebrate after they knocked him out in '98, I would show that in my team talk to the English lads and say, look, we don't want to suffer that again. I know it's maybe a small point, but they will be up for it. They'll be well up for it, but they've got to be motivated and they've got to stand up and be counted.
It's how you instill that sense of confidence, though, isn't it? After a performance that didn't engender a great deal of confidence, particularly in that second half, it's how you turn something around in a small number of days. I mean, how do you do that inside a camp?
Well, I mean, I think that if the guys were honest, the England players, they'll all have sat up the next day around breakfast and probably realised that they got out of jail a wee bit. They didn't get beat, they've got their point. But I also think that really there's got to be changes, Matt, to the way that the team is playing, Bobby. Really, in order for this confidence to come back, you've got to give the team a bit of a structure to play. And on paper, I don't think the team the other day looks like it's going to play the sort of football everyone expects England to play, Bob. Well,
all the talk this week has been about something must change, hasn't it? Didn't work that way. It's got to be played a different way. We don't obviously know how Sven is going to change it. If it is, we assume he's going to change it. Just to think back to your situation in 1990, you drew your first game in Italy. You played with that lineup against Ireland. Then come the Dutch game, which was your second group game, you changed it, didn't you? You changed your formation to a 5 with Mark Wright sweeping behind, which you'd never played before.
That's right.
Now, all through the years, people have always suggested that the players came to you at that point and said, we think we should play this way, and you discussed it and changed it. It ain't true, is it?
Not at all. No. No, seriously.
No. And it's worth saying.
My life's on that, my job's on that.
Yeah.
The moment I listen to players who want to pick their side is the day I think I walk out on management. You finish that day, you know, because if you listen to the players, you'll finish with 10 different selections. I mean, we have a choice here. If you ask us now what is the next England team, the chances are we won't all be the same.
No.
But I went to Sardinia, to Italy, with 2 ideas in my head. A certain way of playing and a way that we might have to play if we need to change. And when it came to the Holland game, Mark van Basten and Gullit were going to play against us, as they did in 1988, 2 years earlier, when they massacred us. And I said to myself, I'm never, ever going to be in that position again. So I need to play another way. You know, you have to have another trick up your sleeve.
Well, it proves the point that you can change in a tournament a way you play if you've thought about it beforehand and you've got the personnel.
And you have the personnel, and if you have the personnel.
Now, has Sven got a plan B in your mind?
I would know, but ask Sven that. I mean, I had Mark Wright at the back of my head to say that if I ever need to play with 3 at the back, that's 2 markers and a sweeper with a shell of 5, if you like, Mark Wright could do that for me.
Had you worked on that, Bob, in training? Had the players had an appreciation of that?
But of course, I think that's what Sven has to do. He has to pick a team and he has to work that side. He's got to get onto that pitch with with those players and say, look, this is the way we're going to play, and to practice. And practice makes perfect. And good practice makes permanent. So you've got to instill confidence into your players as to how you're going to play and what you need from them. Now, the way Argentina will play, I think, will be not much different to the way they played against Nigeria, with Ortega, Batistuta up front, Lopez on the left, so they play with 3 up. Now, I don't think we need to play with a 3 back. I think we need it with a back 4, and I personally wouldn't change that back 4 because I think we did all right. All right, Mills made a little mistake. We didn't catch in on the second ball, but basically did okay.
What's the repairs then, Bob, in your opinion? What do they need to do? What do you think?
You say to yourself, where were we poor, or where did we not gel? We didn't gel exactly in midfield. We didn't gel certainly on both flanks, although Beckham, we know, is a great player and can get better and will get better. But Heskey isn't an outside left, and I think we've got to change that position. And we didn't gel up front. The combination up front was poor. So
and I know you've gone for
three areas where we were poor.
I know you've gone for the two left-footers down the left side. It's a problem area for us. You want two left-footers. Well,
Dyer could do that. I'm a bit worried about Dyer's fitness. And he's not a naturally left-footed player.
No.
But here we are, we're in a hole. We need to get a great result. Our left side has been dormant, has been asleep. It hasn't been there for several years now, since the days John Barnes left, if you like. And we haven't got a left-footed, an actual left-footed on the left side. And all I'm saying that in our squad, we've got Cole and we've got Bridges. Both are left-footed, both are quick, both can beat people. I'm saying, if it was me, I would take a chance in that position.
Yeah.
It's not a bigger chance than playing Heskey outside left, is it?
No, no.
At least Bridge can jink the ball, he can work the fullback, he can get good crosses in, you know, they can interchange with Cole. He's got a nice, well-balanced, fluent, natural side. I would have a go at that.
I noticed, Bob, that Teddy Sheringham, for me, I'm looking at Teddy and thinking, well, he didn't come on in the Sweden game when you need to change something. I think Teddy does that.
Yeah, sure.
If he doesn't play in Argentina, I'd have to question at times why Sven took him out there. What's his importance? What the role is Teddy to play if when you need someone to get a hold of the ball and maybe just link things up, he's not gone for him?
Well, I think that's what Teddy's there for, to change it if he needs to change it. Now, he needed to change it, but didn't change it.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that Sheringham is maybe, in my position, a second-half player.
He's a mid-game change, not a 90-minute change.
Like what Dyer is. I mean, Dyer can change the game. Now, he's not a naturally left-sided player. He can do it. He did it for me 2 years ago. Played lopsided, did a great job. But he's such a match winner, and if it's not going right with a Bridge and the Cole situation, but got plenty of time in the second half to come on and change it. Like Sheringham can do it if it's necessary. And those two players, Dyer and Sheringham,
give you options,
are vital players on the bench.
Darius Vassell on this occasion in Bobby's team doesn't make, and yet maybe the best player against the Swedes.
Can I say this?
Yeah.
Vassell, in my opinion, played better than Owen in that match.
Yeah.
And to leave him out, you think, well, that's pretty stupid. But
I know.
Can you leave Owen out?
No.
Owen is an experienced player. He's been around a little bit more
with
than
the history against Argentina.
The Argentinians hate him, don't like him. He will fear the Argentinians. So you can't leave little Owen out. No. That's my opinion.
Agree, Ali?
I do, because I think the thing about Owen is, I made the point, Owen's, he's a centre-forward, he's a bit of a parasite in my opinion. I was very much the same. I needed somebody to play with, whether it was a Sheringham to thread the ball through, or a Heskey, it was Hateley in my case. And he used to batter people about, he's strong, he used to take all the knocks, I used to sniff about him. I think Owen's the same. I agree, Vassell, for me, was one of England's better players the other day. He really was, but I would leave him out. I'm not sure, I would either go Heskey through the middle, or Sheringham in the hole. The other thing, sorry, I might even play Joe Cole or Dyer on the left. I would go for Bobby's man. I'd play Dyer on the left because I just think he's freshness. He doesn't know the word fear, and I'd go for him.
I think you play Emil Heskey up alongside Michael Owen. I'm still not sure your team's still not going to be doing that a little bit too much.
Because they're tempted to bang it at Heskey and hope he wins
then all of a sudden he's going to be, you know, we'll get it up to Big Emil as early as we can, and all of a sudden that can be a bit hit and miss. So I know that from my experiences with Ireland. Now, one day it can work, the next minute it doesn't.
The trick is to drop it short, is to not hit it to head, not play it for heads, to hit, play for chest or to play for thigh. Well, Bobby Moore dropped it short, didn't he?
Well, he was a good passer, by the way.
Yeah, and that's what we need from the back.
But then again, Bobby, you need your midfield either to drop short so that their midfield push up and create the hole, because if their midfield drop off, there's no gap between the midfield and the defence.
That's true.
Here's a final thought. Is it not more important how we play than who we play? I mean, there's all sorts of permutations as to who you pick, but if those 11 players go out and perform as a team, as they can, you've got a much better chance than if you mess about with who plays where.
Certainly the result, Matt, with this game, certainly the result is of the utmost. I mean, everyone wants to, you want to get the 3 points and play wonderful, sparkling football and excite everybody. But this game coming up, for me, it's about England have to get the result, and then you can worry about the performance again.
I think the system is key. I think in a good system, the players grow and get better. You look at Paul Scholes. In a 4-4-2, I think Paul Scholes is as good as anybody at breaking forward. Put Paul Scholes in a 5, different player. And that's the system. That's the way you're going to play. I think if the system's right and the way you play is right, your players go on and get confidence and go from there. And that's where I think England's problem is at the moment. I'm not quite sure of what is the system that they feel is best suited to them.
I'll tell you something, Robert. Andy's right. The bottom line is the result, because make no mistake about it, in my opinion, England have to take something from this game. I think if England are beaten, they're out of the competition.
And we need a hard tackling, good marker of a midfield player in that centre position. But would be the answer, and I think the Beckham but Scholes combination.
Beckham are worried, Bob, because for me, I said the other day about Beckham worried about 45 minutes. In my opinion, if you're only fit for that sort of amount of time, I don't think you can.
You want the second 45, not the first.
Well, I just sometimes wonder that, you know, if someone thinks they can give you 75 and 80 minutes, then I agree with that.
He's a big player, though, and I think you've got to go with him. His delivery. England needed the goal. Yeah. It was his delivery. Well, yeah, take him away, and I'm not sure where else.
Can you carry a player? That's what I'm saying against Argentina.
You carry him for as long as you can run.
Yeah,
and when
exactly.
you can't run, you take him off. And when you take him off, you've still got the Dyer situation.
Yes.
Because Dyer can play in 3 different positions.
Yeah. See, I find it strange, Andy, you saying you know, you question whether you'd start with Beckham, because the one thing that came out of this discussion here today is England haven't been keeping the ball, especially second half. No. The one player that does keep the ball. What
I'm also saying there with the Beckham thing is the danger of losing him for the tournament. If you know,
well, the tournament might be over if
not right.
The tournament, you know.
Yeah, it might be. I tell you what, you might need something against Nigeria as well, Ali. You know, listen, from my own experiences, you come back in. You know, I'm not so bothered about his foot. You can pull a thigh or pull a calf or something where you haven't played an awful lot of matches. Something else can go on you.
It's a risk.
It's a risk. It is a risk.
But the midfield, we know Argentina's midfield will be awfully strong.
It'll be combative, and we need to do that. We need a combative midfield player in there, someone who can put his foot in, go in for 50-50s and bring it out. He'll win 60-40s, and Butt will do that.
Yeah,
he's a clever passer. He'll keep it short. He knows when to keep it tight. He knows when he can deliver it a little bit longer. Yeah. He can change the play. He can hit the.
Well, he's a player they say he's grown in the last 2 years, don't they? He's matured.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
See, the one thing I know we're talking about, I don't think the aggressive side of England should be a problem on Friday. I mean, if the boys are not for this game against Argentina, then you've got a serious problem. I don't think it's an aggression thing. They've just got to get passionate and they've got to believe in themselves.
Do you believe in them, Rob?
I do. I just feel that they're a tight group now. I think they'll work together. You asked me how they'll get confidence. I think they'll pull together as a group. They're a young group. They've grown up together. They'll remember that 5-1 win against Germany. That will be what they'll be thinking about. If we put it together, that's how good we can be.
In many ways, I think, looking at the English squad, if they could learn anything off any of the other squads in the tournament, it would be the spirit that the Irish lads have got, and if they can get that, then they've got a chance against something against Argentina.
Yeah, and is it a similar situation for you as Ireland? 3 points would be great. A point would be all right.
A point, I think, against Argentina for England would give them a heck of a lot of confidence. I really do. I think they would have expected themselves to beat Sweden the other day. I really feel that they would have believed that. If they can get something out of this game, England are a dangerous underdog. I've always felt that. I mean, when Bobby was in charge and when they've gone in against the Germans and they were the better side, should have won. I think England are a dangerous team when perhaps people are doubting them.
Will they take at least a point, in brief?
I think they've got to, and just for that reason, I think they will, Robbie. I do believe it.
Sometimes
I have a great belief in England. You know, I think we need to change the team. I'm sure Swen will do that.
OK, Rob?
Yeah, I'll take a point, and we'll take Nigeria as they come.
Like the way you're thinking, boys, like the way you're thinking. Just a final thought, given that it's Japan and South Korea's day, moments of the day had to come in the team lineups for the Japan team. Surely the trendiest hairdos in the tournament, bar, well, a couple, Ali.
I tell you, I never knew Edward Scissorhands play for Japan. That's unbelievable.
That's a money-back job, that one there. I don't know about anything else.
Actually, Inamoto and Nakata, perhaps the 2 best-known players, are quite restrained.
That's the best there.
You should have seen his before the game. He shaved that off.
Well, I think he's been watching the Roberto Carlos videos a little too often, hasn't he? Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. Great hair, I think. We start good and early tomorrow. 7 o'clock start for Russia against Tunisia with Bob Wilson. Kick-off at 7:30. Then it's midday for the big one in Ibaraki, Germany versus the Republic of Ireland with Des at the helm. 12:30 kick-off, and everything on and off the pitch with us at 10:20 tomorrow evening. The host country often does well at a World Cup. Both have started well this time. Neither South Korea nor Japan will win it, but the little uns aren't so little anymore. In the meantime, Ireland must walk tall. Bye-bye.